past 20 years. This book has evolved over a period of 16 years. In late 2005, early 2006, I wrote the first English-language biography of Roger Federer, which was published under the title Fantastic Federer. At that time, he was still in his mid-20s, so the book was very much a profile of him, with speculation as to what he might go on to achieve. In the intervening years, that book has been revised, updated, reshaped, and renamed, to the point where this is the 10th incarnation and the first audiobook edition. Now that Federer's playing career is over, we can get a true sense of the immensity of what he's achieved. In that sense, it's now a true biography, where the early editions were really book-length profiles. Some material from the original books has survived. After all, his childhood and early career haven't changed since 2006. But some events in the early years that seemed important 16 years ago have been eclipsed by subsequent achievements. This book is therefore a new book making use of some old material, and not an old book with a couple of new chapters tacked on to the end. Some listeners understandably want to know under what conditions it was written, though the question often used to ask this, is it an authorised biography, is a poor one to elicit a meaningful answer. It's not authorised, in the sense that Roger has not worked with me in giving me new material, revealing inside stories and checking facts. But I prefer to call it an independent biography, as the word unauthorised is often taken to mean inherently hostile. I first approached Federer in April 2004 to discuss working on a book. 18 months later, I had a meeting with his agents, who passed on the message that Roger doesn't do anything that he doesn't put the required effort into, that he didn't have time to do a book to the standard he would feel happy with, and therefore he wasn't going to work with any author. That position hasn't changed in the years since, despite about a dozen approaches a year from publishers all wanting to write his inside story. The Roger Federer inside story doesn't exist, and it might never exist, such as the way he guards his privacy and information about the inner workings of Team Federer. And his consistency in giving the same response to any potential book author means that anyone who claims to have privileged access to him is almost certainly playing fast and loose with the truth. Some who write about Federer claim to have privileged access to his family. This must also be taken with a pinch of salt. While invariably polite, the extended Federer family is as protective of their privacy as Roger and Mirka are. I therefore not only have no close knowledge of what goes on behind Roger's and Mirka's front door, but I don't seek any. This audiobook is about Roger Federer, not about his children. And, while their presence and effect on his life are a small part of the story, they are entitled to a normal childhood, away from the glare of publicity, and I'm very happy to respect that. This is therefore an independent biography of Roger Federer. Indeed, my independence has given me a degree of freedom to write about him without constraints on what he or his advisers might have wanted me to say. I was able to speak freely with many of the people who have helped shape him, and paint a picture of him both as a person and a tennis player. It's a largely positive picture, because I believe, from 25 years of dealing with him, that he's a very special person. But I don't believe anyone is all good or all bad, and I don't shy away from criticising him when I feel it's warranted. Some choose to view independent biographies as a good second-best holding option until the subject chooses to write their autobiography. That's a dangerous approach. It's true that the subject will know all the inside stories and be able to throw a different light on the background to certain events, but it's only his or her version of events, and may well be what they want the public to know, rather than what actually happened. If Roger Federer does one day write his own memoirs, they'll add an interesting dimension to the Federer story, but they won't be the definitive work on their own. Biographies like this, that draw on interviews done specifically for them, plus various other pieces of information in the public domain, are more likely to present a fair portrait of the person under discussion than that person's own account of what happened. I'm fortunate to be in a pretty much